about some happier shit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about some music because that's what fucking makes me happy for sure. So,
Same.
so you were lucky enough to hit up both drive-in runs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's start with Chicago. I know it was a little bit ago, but let's talk about,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
just pulled up the set list. I got to remember what went down, really.
for sure. I mean, and everything that happens with life between then and now feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
Um, But I mean, talk about, is that the first drive-in show that you had done?
Yes. That and well, I guess I went to a local show that was a drive-in style. But this was the first drive-in show that I'd gone to that big of a scale.
Yeah. So what was your like first like reaction the first day that you're getting in and doing everything? Like what was your
Um,
first kind of feeling about it?
it felt well. I mean, the in Chicago, obviously we're all excited. We're getting ready to leave the hotel. There's lots of tailgating going on. But it was kind of chaotic getting in there because we had our section that we were supposed to be in, which we knew, but we didn't know where we were going to actually be. And there was like a super long line of cars, and there was different lots that cars were like parked and tailgating, but we're also in line at the same time, and like nobody was answering questions. So that was a little chaotic, but like once things started going and we got into where we were supposed to be, you know, it it was it was pretty organized. It was cool. The stage looked a little small, and I was a little concerned, but then they raised the screens up on the side, which was cool. Um, we had a pretty decent spot both nights. I think in the first night we were in the A lot, and then second night we were premium. So I wasn't too upset about that at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, got pretty lucky with the premium. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It seemed to be very well organized in Chicago. Um, throughout the night, staff was doing what they were supposed to be doing. They were walking around making sure people had their masks on. At least from what I saw, anyway. I had mine down for a second because it slipped my mind after taking a drink, and someone was like, "Hey, please put your mask back up," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, for sure, sorry." So
Yeah,
that was good to see. That was a little comforting.
for sure. For sure. So talk about how you felt being able to be at live music for
It
the
was so
first time in
awesome.
like forever.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like take for granted kind of all the ability to go see shows once or twice a week, a couple times a month, whatever it might be, because I've missed live music so much since March. And being able to go there and be with my friends and just dance and forget about what was going on in the world for 3 hours was incredible. And I hope that they're able to do it again next year if we can't have regular indoor shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to experience it now that I've heard a little bit of what people encountered in their pros of attending shows like this. I definitely
Yeah.
want to at least try it out. It seems interesting.
Yeah. So like I've had, a few friends are like, yeah, I don't know if that is going to be the concert experience I want it to be, whatever. And I'm like, I can respect that and appreciate that. But after doing both these shows, like I vouch for drive-in style shows. I wouldn't say prefer them to an indoor show, but if I'm going to see a show outside, I'd almost rather it be a drive-in because being able to bring in your own food, your own drink, having dancing space is fun.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is really cool. So
Yeah.
there are definitely things that are a factor, like sound, or if you're in the back, you probably won't have as good of a time. But that's going to come down to your attitude also. So
Right. Right.
you know,
Yeah.
it is
Well,
what it
that
is.
that's
But
just how it is for anybody at a show, though, too. Like
true. Yeah. No. True. Very true.
they're the same people who would complain at an indoor show. So
Yeah.
that's how I feel.
I love it.
So, I mean, if you can remember musically, what were some of your highlights, your favorite
Yeah.
moments?
Let me tap into the brain here.
Yeah.
I've everything was pretty good from night one from what I remember. It was cool getting a police cover. I don't think other than I guess I've seen Canary in a Coal Mine, but Synchronicity 2 is cool.
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of Seasons. I've been a big fan of Seasons since the
I think
album
it's a
came
great
out.
tune for sure.
Um,
Especially now. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those
yeah,
Bayless tunes where when you
they're
listen to the
finally,
lyrics, you're like, this is a
yeah,
great song, guys.
they're finally honing it in, and they're like, as far as I know, I'm sure they've jammed it before, but this was like one of the first times it's gotten a really solid jam and some love with the improv. So Seasons was awesome.
Hmm.
Um, Second Set, All in Time is my favorite song. So
Yeah.
that just made it for me. I was super stoked on that. Hurt Bird Bath was sweet. I'm really glad they put out the YouTube video for that so I can relive that one. When they did the Cars tease going into that, I was so hoping that they were going to play the full song, but
I called that morning.
yeah,
I'm still dying over that. I woke up and I had that song in my head, and I'm like, is this like, what song is this? Like, I couldn't remember the full song.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I came up to my husband and I'm like, they're gonna play this tonight. Like, they have to play this. It's so perfect for them
yeah,
to play. And they teased it, and the look on my face, of course, was just like, yes.
yeah. That made everyone laugh for sure. Um,
I am sad they didn't play the full song too. They should have.
yeah. And then making Flippy Floppy, which like when I first started listening to Umphreys back in '09, that was a lot heavier in rotation as far as covers go, and that was
Mm-hmm.
like my favorite cover to listen to. And I don't think I've seen one before the show, so or if I have, it's loose in the memory. But
For sure.
that was really awesome to see. And then you gotta love a Remind Me encore
Yeah.
with that sex metal.
Yeah. That's what everybody needed.
Yeah, no,
Everybody needed that.
it was a good dose of rock and roll.
For sure.
Um, I don't know. Night two is probably the same story though. Musically, we were a little bummed at first. Our premium spot wasn't as premium as one would have guessed. We were placed like all the way on the side, and you couldn't hear or see the stage. Um, so admittedly, we bent a rule or two and moved spots to be with some friends that had a spot to where we could at least hear the show. So, yeah, you know,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
you got to do what you got to do. It was windy out, and you couldn't hear on if you're off to the side. So, I'm glad we were able to do that because once that happened, everything was good to go.
Yeah.
Um, they come off the bat, puppet string into the floor is like it's how you want to start a show, in my opinion. So that was really cool.
For sure.
Thinking set two, Push the Pig was probably highlighted both nights for me
Yeah. For sure.
musically.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I would definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, I'd actually like to go back and re-listen. When I'm trying to think about it now, I'm like, Atlanta kind of like overwrote the focus of
Well,
my
for sure, for sure. And there's been other stuff that they've done, and
yeah,
between there, like Brendan and Jake, and it's just there's so much. So
definitely. But yeah, Chicago's sweet,
yeah.
and it was
And it
cool.
wasn't very far for you either.
Nope, it wasn't far from me. 2.5, 3 hours from home. Our hotel was in the parking lot of the venue, so 30-second drive back to the hotel, which
Nice.
was sweet. Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone got to have their fun.
that's nice. Everybody was able to kind of,
Let
let
loose.
loose in the way that they could, right now, and
Yeah,
get it, just release all the bullshit that everybody's been dealing with. So I mean,
definitely.
even watching at home, I felt that way. Like I
Did
still
you
had that feeling.
you streamed like
Yeah.
what else? Did you stream Atlanta too?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, unless it's like West Coast, I usually stream everything just because like the 3 hour time difference is too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna watch it in the way that I want to. And
Right.
so but any other time I stream, and especially for this, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
So talk about going to Atlanta. I mean, so you drove to Atlanta.
So just a quick little backstory. I went to Chicago with my group of best friends. Somebody else was with some friends of ours there that I had never met before. He's from the same town as me. He's a little older. So I got to meet him that weekend, and like immediately we became good friends. Like we just clicked. Everything was awesome. So we get back from Chicago. They announce Atlanta, and he messages me. He's like, "Hey, you know, I'll drive to Atlanta. You seem like you're down to do whatever to go see Humphreys," which is true. "Do you want to go with me?" And I was like, "Yeah. I mean, like, if we can fill the car and, split gas and travel and Airbnbs, like, yeah, I mean, I don't know many people around here right now because he had just moved back to town. If you can find people to fill the car, let's do it." So I got to work immediately. Um, Took a little convincing for some people because it is a 13 and a half hour drive for us,
Mm-hmm.
but we did it.
It's
And
far.
it was far. It was the
It's
farthest I've
far
ever
for me
traveled.
too.
I've been to Colorado, which is 18 hours, but we flew. So
Mm-hmm.
I've never traveled 13 hours to see a band. And
That's the furthest was when I went to the Tabby in
yeah,
2018. It was
that's in Atlanta, right?
far. Yeah,
So
it's far. Yeah.
worth it though.
Oh, 100%.
After that, like I will go anywhere I have to go to see that band,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But Atlanta was probably the best Humphreys experience I might have ever had.
That's
And
amazing.
that is attributed to the fact that both nights we were supposed to have section A seating. The day of night one, we just go on the website, we look at the tickets, and there happens to be front row, the ultra premium, very middle spot for sale, which sold out immediately when tickets went on sale and stayed sold out. So it was available, and I get a call from one of my friends that's with us. I'm at the store picking up food. He's like, "Hey, this is available. I know it's gonna be like another $600 some. Do we want to do this?" And we thought about it for like 30 seconds, and we're like, "Yeah,
Yeah, let's do it.
pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we can't sell our other ticket. Like, this is gonna be worth it." So we did that, and it was so freaking awesome.
Yeah, I bet it was. That's incredible.
Being like, I like to ride the rail once in a while. It's not my favorite thing to do all of the time because I like my personal space. And
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, I've been there, done that, which is cool. Sometimes, like, once in a while, I'll go up front, and every time I do, I'm like, yeah, that was a good choice. I'm glad I did that. But being in the front and having no one around you
Yeah.
was so awesome. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I bet. I bet. Just made the entire experience that much better. It was like almost, I'm sure, having like your own private show.
it honestly felt that way.
Yeah.
There were a few times throughout the night where I'd like turn around and catch, random people hanging out in the spot watching, and like had to pull the, like, I had to be firm with people like, "Hey, it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
I know you. Please keep walking. Like, I know this spot is dope. Try not to be an asshole."
You gotta
But
go.
I mean, like, yeah, rules are rules, like I didn't want to get kicked out for any
Mm-hmm.
reason. So yeah, that was cool. I bought the show when I got home on tour gigs and probably rewatched it like 10 times almost. Not even kidding. I'd go to the gym, I'd throw it on, I'd watch it when I laid down at night, and like it's just it'll be forever be one of those shows for me that just is like top 5 for sure.
That's incredible. So talk about driving 13 hours during a pandemic. What was it like traveling that far now?
It wasn't bad. I mean, there were definitely stops that we made, like people weren't wearing masks and stuff because probably wasn't as bad in those areas. In Michigan right now, especially, it's getting very bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm not used to the lax that all of that, but we
Yeah.
didn't make too many stops. We got gas a couple times, got food a couple times. My friend Steve that drove the entire way there, which I was like, "Hey, if you don't want to drive anymore, I can drive." But he was a trooper. He crushed it. Um, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that
Nice.
bad at all.
That's
Even
nice.
the way back, there was inclement weather, which affected us night 2, which I can talk about, but
Yeah.
we had some of that on our way out home too. But once we got out of the south, it was smooth sailing.
Nice. And you stayed in an Airbnb. What was that like with
Airbnb was great. It
nice?
was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. It was in like a gated community, which I didn't know. So it was like a super nice house, tons of space, an awesome porch. I'm a fan of Airbnbs.
Yeah. Me
Um,
too.
that's the route that my friends and I usually take now. Obviously, we'll stay in a hotel if we have to, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just one.
we've stayed in some pretty sweet places doing
Yeah,
Airbnb, which
same.
is cool.
Hmm.
Makes the experience cooler.
And like it's usually a little cheaper, if not the same price as a hotel. So
For sure.
it's just nice
And
having that.
it's more privacy too, I feel, you're
It's
able to more
privacy.
do your thing.
If you're not trying to stay up to the wee hours raging after, which sometimes I'm not, it's good to have the peace and quiet.
For sure. For sure. I like to sleep after.
Yeah, a lot of people do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Usually,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
up
yeah.
all night long in the hotels partying, but it's nice to be able to go to sleep if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about night 2. Did
So
you get in at all, or were you kind of driving around, and what the hell happened with you guys?
we got in. We were looking at the weather all day long, getting worried. It's not looking good. Rain, winds, high winds. Um, so we leave a little early, like we did the night before. Night 1, we actually were the first people in line at the entire venue, which was an accident. But so we didn't leave quite so early night 2. Once we realized, we didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
We went into it saying like we drove 13 hours. If this for whatever reason doesn't happen because of the weather, because of the hurricanes and stuff, whatever it might be, we were so happy with night 1 that it was going to be okay, and we were going to stay positive and not be sad.
Yeah.
That being said, when we get to night 2, we get into the show, and like, I don't know, an hour before the show's supposed to start, all of our phones go off, and there's a tornado warning in the area, and then it starts pouring rain, and then there's thunderstorms, and we're just like, this is not gonna be good. And then they come out on the PA, tell everyone to get in their cars. They stop letting cars in. There's a long line of cars yet to even get in the venue. Where maybe like 30% of the cars are in the venue at the time. So we're just thinking like, oh shit, this is gonna be rough. We
Mm-hmm.
sit and we wait and we kind of party in the car, and they keep updating us like every 15 minutes over the radio, actually, what's going on. And never once did they say the show wasn't going to go on. They were just explaining what they had to do and why they were waiting, which I thought was cool. And then
Yeah.
like towards the end of all of that scenario, they were reassuring the guy. I don't know who it was, but one of the guys running the show was like, there will be a show tonight. So like, just be patient, which I think everybody appreciated hearing that.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, they started an hour later than they were supposed to. And we have a couple friends, closer to them and whatnot, that when everyone gets info or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, we heard there's only gonna be one set tonight. And so we're like, okay, that's cool. One set's better than none,
Mm-hmm.
Or we're thinking one set, it's raining. I just take my poncho off because I hate ponchos. I'm like, I'm just gonna be wet. I don't care, whatever.
At that point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm soaking wet. Uh, they start the show off. They come out, No Crying in Mexico, into Rocker Part 2, which is one of my favorites, which they had crossed off from night 1, so I was super juiced. Then Draconian, All in Time. Again, I got another All in Time,
Mm-hmm.
which I was ecstatic about. Into Mulches, Night Nurse, Wife Soup. Um, it was windy, so there were times I couldn't hear a lot because of that, which was fine. Jake had some technical difficulties in Mulches, but they seemed to not give a shit that it was pouring rain and wind was blowing everywhere, and it was probably semi-dangerous
Oh
to
yeah, definitely.
be playing there. And after listening to the Farrig interview, I thought it was cool hearing him talk about, like that was the last show of the year. They were just going to do it, whatever they
Hmm.
could. And for
Hmm.
that, I'm grateful.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think any other band, I mean, maybe, but I don't think many other bands would play in conditions like that for their fans. And I don't think many other bands fans would stick out that weather for the band either.
Oh, I agree. And I also don't think that other bands' fans would appreciate it the way that we do. And
Yeah,
that's why they did it, because they know that how grateful we are for that.
I definitely believe that for sure. Yeah. Um, musically, night 2 was awesome. I got a Haji. Man, my light is like bright. Uh, got another Haji. I say another. I got a Haji, which I love that song. Cemetery Walk 2. Higgins is a favorite. Heard it through the grapevine. Tease into Glory was super cool.
That Glory was nasty too.
It was sweet. Yeah, I just listened to it last night. Yes, actually. And then
Jake's been having fun with that Glory because I did a
yeah,
Halloween show and he was having a good time with that,
yeah,
with
that's
Glory during
cool
that
that you
too.
got to see
So,
that too. I'm a fan. I kind of hope they do it like that moving forward, or do it again like that.
mhm.
Um, and then ending the show all in time is, you know, it was kind of expected, but it was cool.
The perfect way to end the weekend for you.
Perfect way to end the weekend. Perfect way to end the year. I'm crying like a baby, hugging all my friends, just on top of the world about it.
Oh yeah, of course.
I do want to say too, like overall, Atlanta, one of the most awesome experiences I've had. But Ben Factor is the man and
Yeah, he is.
deserves so much love. And I'm so excited to see what they do next year and moving forward, because everything he did this weekend was so freaking awesome. And it
Hmm.
was a change of pace, and I think he's really coming into his own. So
I
shout out
agree.
shout out to Ben Factor.
I agree. I was just going to ask you about checking out Ben Factor's work in Atlanta in person. I mean, even at home, I was just like, God damn, this dude, like, and the
I
video
know.
screen and in the episode that's coming out tomorrow, I shared some of what Ben had to say about the whole
Okay.
thing. So,
Sweet.
and I was excited that he answered some of my questions about it because I was just like, holy shit. And what an experience for him to get to play with stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Like
I
he was
you
loving
know
it.
I hope that the band takes a little inspiration from that light rig he was working with, and at least consider something like that for like their permanent rig, because it was freaking cool.
Yeah.
There's not much else to say about it. It's
Yeah.
funny. One of my friends I was with actually graduated with Ben at the University of Michigan, and they've stayed close friends throughout the years, and they're still close friends. And Ben, like, first night when we're in the front in our spot in the middle, just hanging out, he like is walking up to the stage to do something, and he passes us and he sees my buddy, his good friend, and he's just like, how did you get this spot? And we're like, stroke of luck, and he's like, well, you're gonna be in for a treat, like, we're gonna light it up tonight. And he did that. So
Yeah, that's it. His work is incredible anyways, but he really outdid himself those 2 nights with that video
yeah,
screen and everything. It's just wow.
I agree.
Wow. So what do you think is like the biggest difference between Chicago and Atlanta, between the drive-ins and kind of dealing with the whole pandemic thing? Like what were kind of the differences that you noticed between the two cities?
So Atlanta was definitely put together but more professionally. I thought Chicago was ran very well until I went to Atlanta and realized that they definitely things could have just went better, for as far as this, how the staff did things, how it was organized, how it was secured, all that stuff. Production was way bigger in Atlanta. The stage was ginormous. The screens were bigger. The sound was better. They had the relay towers, which all of that stuff they, came out and announced that they would be doing in response to people's complaints in Chicago, which that's great. They're listening to the fans. kudos to them. So overall, like if they're going to do more drive-in shows next year, hopefully they follow the model in Atlanta, because I don't have any complaints about Atlanta. The weather is out of everyone's hands.
Right. Yeah, that's not anybody else's fault.
They did everything they could do, and they got everybody in, and everyone saw the show, and like that's more than a lot of people could ask for. So
yeah, and they made improvements like right away. As soon as they announced Atlanta, they were like, this is what we're doing to make it better.
Right.
Like they never hesitated.
Have some faith in us, So that being said, hopefully Atlanta kind of becomes a standard for drive-in shows, at least for bands that size, because that's just how it should be if you're paying that kind of money to go see them.
For sure.
As far as the whole COVID thing goes, like hopefully these events aren't making things worse, and that comes down to everyone doing the right thing and being smart and being safe. So if fans can continue to do that, I don't see why we wouldn't have shows in 2021. I hope there's drive-in shows.
Yeah.
I'm personally realistic enough to say, like, I'm not gonna get my hopes up for any indoor shows next year. Nor do I know that I would want to go to one right now.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I mean, there's definitely not going to be any Northeast tour for Humphreys like we usually get up here. Like it's just not going to happen, and I'm kind of okay with that, honestly.
Yeah, Michigan. There won't be a Michigan run in the winter like there usually would be in 2 months. Which, it's sad, but like 6 months ago, I thought I wouldn't see any shows this year. So,
right. I'd rather not do anything this winter to be able to do all the things winter 2022, including maybe go to Iceland. That would be fucking awesome. So
yeah, definitely. I think everyone hopes that, it's worrisome. You got all these venues struggling. You got the Save Our Stages movement, which hopefully gets some government love now that things will be changing. To anyone listening, like, check out Save Our Stages, show that some love, do what we can here as fans of live music to make sure that we will get live music again someday. You got a lot of artists out there, friends of mine that are musicians, people that I look up to, not sure about their future right now. So we need to, fans, really do the right thing and support them as much as we can.
Absolutely.
I hope that Humphreys will do another. I mean, they kind of said and alluded to the fact that they would be doing some more streaming stuff this year. So I'm hopeful that happens soon. It'd be cool to see something for New Year's. Like if they did another Wrapped in the Round, I would be excited about that. I'll continue to give them my money when I can, however I can,
That's how I feel too. Whatever I can do to help them and support in any way, because it's hard right now.
Sure is.
So
sure whatever is. We can do. Yeah. No, you should definitely go to a drive-in show next year if you can.
Yeah, hopefully I'm gonna
go to the same one.
That would be sweet. Do like a nice air elbow 5. Nah, maybe by then we'll be able. Maybe by then we'll be able to. That would be nice. That's my big thing. That's the biggest reason why I didn't go, is because I wasn't going to be able to hug my people, and that just hurts too much. I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely giving hugs to the people I was there with, but we all know what each other have been doing. We wouldn't have rode to Atlanta together if we were worried about it.
Right. Yeah, it's your family. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. Sorry.